That burr should have been gone 10 passes ago, and it's one of 8 mistakes I put under the microscope for this video. I made every single one of them on purpose so you can see exactly what each one does to the steel. One of them turns out to be useful, one of them isn't really a mistake at all, and the first one is the reason most edges never get properly sharp. So first mistake is not creating a burr everywhere. So how do we create a burr? We start grinding, taking care to hit every part of the edge. Once in a while, feel the edge. You can feel the burr. Always feel on the opposite side from the one you ground on the stone. Don't stop grinding on this side until you feel that burr along the entire edge. Let's take a look at this edge. There's a nice burr from the heel to the middle of the knife. Oftentimes people don't have a decent burr at the heel, but that's not a problem here. Let's take a look at the tip. And here you can see we do not have a full burr. There's no burr going all the way to the tip. This is the second likely place that doesn't get sharpened properly. So let's go back to the diamond plate and fix this. You can see I'm taking extra care at the tip now. I'm lifting my arm to make sure I hit it properly. Now let's see if that worked. So here you can see the burr is now complete all the way to the tip. That's a big common mistake. I feel it's not mentioned often enough. It's a major reason parts of the edge are not getting sharp. So mistake 2 is the angle is too low. Angle errors happen on sharpening stones, but also on strops. Here you can see me stropping and getting the angle entirely wrong. There's a huge gap between the edge and the leather. I won't be refining my edge like this. I will only round off the shoulder of the bevel. And here's an example of a rounded over shoulder. This was done on basswood. A leather strop won't usually show this unless you've stropped really hard. But on basswood or a sharpening stone, you can usually spot it quite well. Mistake 3 is angle too high. You can also over-angle. On strops, that will result in convexing the apex, and this will effectively make your edge less sharp. The general assumption is that this happens more easily on softer strops, because those wrap around the edge more. This microscope image is a VG10 edge, and you can clearly see the convexing of the apex. I have definitely seen some evidence of this when comparing leather strops with much harder basswood strops. I will link the video in the end screen. On stones, of course, this can happen as well. You will get an uneven edge and multiple bevels when varying the angle on a stone. This edge, for example, will not perform as well as a properly apexed edge. On this one, I got the angle wrong when I switched from a 220 grit stone to a 1000 grit stone. When you change stones, a lot of positions are switched, so it's usually a risk moment for angle variation. You can clearly see the fine 1000 grit pattern is at a higher angle, and because of that, the 220 grit pattern remains slightly higher on the bevel. So this and the previous pictures I have taken right after that poorly removed burr I showed you before. So I deliberately over-angled here to show you the effect. However, as you can see, this does make it easier to remove the burr. It's gone in the macro shot, and there is no burr in the 20x shot. And here, as you can see, there is also no burr in the 50x shot either. So deliberately over-angling might have some uses. And that's the benefit. Over-angling is a mistake, but if you're struggling to get a burr off, doing it deliberately once on your last stone is a tool. If you do this, raise the angle only slightly and use extremely light pressure. This should be a controlled deburring pass, not a new sharpening angle. Okay, so how do we prevent these angling mistakes? When you put your edge on the stone or strop, you can actually feel when the bevel lines up with the strop or the stone. It takes experience, however. After some practice, you get a feel for it. Starting out, you might not feel anything at all, but stick with it. This is important to get right. And then, secondly, once you have your angle right, you need to lock in your wrist. Keep it rigid and move your entire body, and only lift your elbow at the end to get the belly and the tip. This will reduce wobble. I know everyone says this, and they say so because it is true. Once again, this is a skill you need to practice. Mistake number 4 is wrong pressure. So pressure should change throughout the sharpening process. On a coarse stone like a 220 grit, using too little pressure can make stock removal unnecessarily slow. So when I'm reprofiling an edge or trying to establish an apex, I use enough pressure to let the coarse abrasive cut efficiently. But once the apex has been formed and I move to the finer stones, that same amount of pressure becomes a mistake. Excessive pressure can create a larger burr. and make it harder to maintain a consistent angle and prevent the apex from being properly refined. So as I progress through the grids, I gradually reduce the pressure. On my final stone, and especially during the last alternating passes, I use extremely light pressure. So, mistake number 5, using the wrong stone. This one, I guess, is both true and a myth. So for high vanadium steels, the recommendation is use diamond or CBM. Don't use aluminum oxide stones on steels containing more than, say, 4% of vanadium. So here you can see 15V sharpened on diamond electroplated. So first on 220 grit, then on 600, then on 1000 grit, and then on 3000 and 6000 resin bonded diamond. No carbides visible. They have all been cut. And here then you can see the exact same edge sharpened on aluminum oxide. The matrix is abraded away because it is softer than the abrasive, but the vanadium and other hard carbides are left sticking out. The sharpening stone is not hard enough, or the abrasive is not hard enough to cut them. And here you can see it even better. It is said this will lead to an unstable edge, so this difference is real. It can be observed. By the way, if you like seeing these type of images and comparisons, make sure to subscribe. There is more coming. So that's the mistake. Now here is the myth attached to it. That you cannot sharpen high vanadium steel on a waterstone at all. That part isn't true, and here is why. Most of the knife steel is composed of the matrix, and the matrix is soft and will be abraded away by aluminum oxide, which means you will be able to apex rather properly on waterstones. Yes, those carbides won't be cut. They will lose their footing and disappear, but you can sharpen your edge. Perhaps it will not yield the longest lasting edge, but in an emergency you can definitely use them. All this aside, perhaps it's better just not to use these waterstones at all as a beginner. They need to be flattened, and many people seem to forget that. They dish out, and that will ruin your edge as well. So either don't use them or make sure they are properly fed before you do. You can check with a flashlight. Not too much light should shine through. They dish in the middle, of course. And this one I'm showing you here, this one's mine. I don't use it often. This one is perfectly fine. So mistake number 6 is wrong compound. So the green compound and the rouge will not properly refine high vanadium steels. They polish away the softer matrix and cannot effectively cut the hard vanadium carbides. That leaves the carbides increasingly exposed or unsupported, making the apex rougher instead of refining it. So on a sharpening stone, you can still form the edge this way because you are removing enough steel to establish a new apex. But once the edge already exists, using these compounds for refinement can do the opposite of what you want. For softer carbide steels, they can still be used, but I would advise using only diamond or CBM stropping compounds. Just drop the rouge and the green. They've had their day and now we have better stuff. Mistake number 7, not minimizing the burr. Oftentimes, people have trouble removing the burr when they arrive at the strop, usually because the burr has not been minimized properly. I tend to minimize the burr at every step of the sharpening process. I do minimizing passes at 220 grit, at 600, then at 1000. I do it on every stone I use, and usually I do a paper cut test between every stone. I want my edges to be really sharp at every stage. On my last stone, I take extra care to use the lightest possible strokes. If you notice you cannot get your knife to properly cut paper, go back to a lower grit stone. Golden tip, when doing alternated passes, always feel whether the entire burr has been flipped over. After each alternating pass, one side should feel clean and the burr should be detectable along the entire opposite side. If part of that opposite side feels clean, the burr has not completely transferred there. If you do this, you know you are weakening the burr properly. Finally, mistake number 8, wrong grit. If you've got a chip like this, you won't be able to get that out on a 1000 grit stone. If you've got a 25-degree angle, do not change it to 15 degrees on a 2000 grit stone. Use a 220, a 325, a 400 and progress through the grits. You will spend way too much time or you will not get a burr. The main rule is choose the grit according to how much steel needs to be removed, not according to how polished you want the final edge to look. I wonder what mistakes you make when learning to sharpen. Let me know in the comments below. The video to the right here gives you more information on the difference between leather and wooden strops. Take a look, it contains some surprising results. So at this channel we look very closely at edges. If you like that, please subscribe. See you guys later.